the Royals Rundown, powered by Royals Report.
Welcome to another edition of the Royals Rundown podcast, powered by Royals Report on the Nordcast Network. I am your host here, Evan Dickinson, otherwise known as Nordic 97, here covering the ECHL's Reading Royals, the AHL's Lehigh Valley Phantoms, and all things minor league hockey in Eastern Pennsylvania. So, we got an upcoming weekend here with the Reading Royals where they will be going on and taking the Worcester Railers to war, is what I've been calling it. They are facing off against the Worcester Railers in their first 3-game slate of the season. So they will play 2 games in Worcester and then a game in Maine for their last weekend on the road before returning home for 2 weeks here, more or less. So let's go through this preview here. First off, obviously we need to recognize last weekend was absolutely phenomenal. The Royals went 2-0 against the Greensboro Gargoyles, winning the first game 4-1, then winning the next game 8-7 in an overtime thriller. Those games were absolutely incredible. And you look at how the Royals played in those games, the second game there was no defense played. Just want to put that out there to the world. But after that, I thought things looked pretty good for Reading. So I think that overall they played really well last weekend, and we're hoping that it carries over into next season. But first, there are some things that we need to talk about before we get into the actual preview itself. There's been some news around the Royals and the Phantoms as well. So as you guys probably know, in the big league with the Flyers, Samuel Ersson was injured. He's been placed on injury reserve there in the NHL. As a result, the Flyers called up Alexei Kolosov. Now, that means they need a goalie to go up and play with the Phantoms, be the backup for Carson Bjarnson, and that guy is going to be Yaniv Peretz. Now, Peretz obviously was signed to an AHL contract by the Phantoms this past offseason, and so far this year with the Royals in 2 games played has 1 win, a 8.14 and a 6.28 goals against average. He has allowed 13 goals in 2 games. Yeah, I'm just going to be honest with you. It really hasn't been that pretty. But then again, you have to watch the games, and the defensive lapses have not been that great there by the Royals. They haven't played that good defensively when he's been in the game. He's honestly lucky to have a win. The fact that you allow 7 goals and still win a game it's beyond me. But regardless, I think that Peretz is better than those numbers perceive. I feel like we need to see, if we see more games out of him where he allows that amount of goals, then I'm worried. But honestly, I think that Reading wasn't that great defensively behind him when he played. Again, they weren't terrible, but I think again, those numbers don't depict how good this goaltender is. Also, the Royals have also sent Vincent Sevigny up to the Phantoms, and he is signing a PTO. So you see that with Emil Andre being called up from the Flyers, or called up to the Flyers with the injury going on there. And they actually acquired somebody today who we'll talk about later on at the end of this episode. This is mainly the Royals rundown, but we'll talk about the Phantoms news there too. You see that, and Sevigny now needs to be called up, signed to a PTO. So there you go. That's what's happening there. We'll probably see Sevigny play a game or 2 with the Phantoms before being sent back down. Again, he was just signed to a PTO by Hartford. Didn't even play a game, lasted last weekend, and then he was sent back to Reading. So we'll see what happens here, but Sevigny, hopefully he can maybe get a shot there with Lehigh Valley, and there's some upside there for sure. So, looking at the Royals' upcoming weekend here against the Worcester Railers and the Maine Mariners. First off, looking at the Worcester Railers series. So, the Royals will play on Friday the 31st and Saturday, November 1st against the Worcester Railers in Worcester. So, the Railers this year are winless. They have not won a game yet this season, including preseason. Their last win was back in last season. So, they have lost games against Maine, games against Adirondack, and games against Norfolk. I apologize. They've actually won a game. I don't know why I looked at my screen and said, yeah, they haven't won yet. They won 3-2 in Sunday, October 25th against Norfolk. So they do have a win there under their belt. Overall, they are 1-3 through the start of their season. I don't know why I thought they were winless. I apologize. I guess I just can't read. Regardless, they're taking on the Royals now in this 2-game stretch. The Railers have not really scored a lot of goals. Over their last couple of games, they've scored a total of, what's that, 5 goals in their last 6 goals in their last couple of games. So it hasn't been that great in terms of those overall numbers. They definitely need to improve there if you're Worcester. When you look at the team leaders here for the Railers, their leading scorer here when it comes to offense is Cole Donhauser, who has 2 goals so far in 4 games played. Donhauser spent last year with Worcester at 29 points in 71 games played. Beforehand, played with Greenville and Idaho. But overall, probably one of the better players here on Worcester there for sure. Also, Anthony Collin has 2 points so far here, too. He spent his entire ECHL career here with the Railers. Last year had 48 points, 65 games played. So watch out there for him for sure. As well as that, too, Matt DeMellis is there as well. He has 2 points, too, in 4 games played. He had 26 points, 60 games played last year with the Railers, too. So overall, their scoring has been spread out across most of their lineup when you look at their overall roster. And a lot of it's come from the offense. Their leading guy on defense is Matt Steiff. He has 1 goal in 3 games played. He was with Adirondack last year and then Idaho there too. So we'll see how Steiff is this year with the Worcester Railers. But regardless, he's obviously there too on their back end. And then in net, you still have Henry Tikkanen and Tristan Lenox, who ironically enough, Lenox played an NHL game last year. So far, Tikkanen, 2 games played, 1 win, a 2.94 goals against, and a .893 save percentage so far with the Worcester Railers. Leno, who I imagine we'll see probably a split, I would think, have Leno play 1 game, Tikkanen play another. Leno so far, 450 goals against, and an .847 save percentage in just 2 games played. So there you go, more or less. Both these goalies have kind of struggled here to start the year. Worcester in general has struggled to start the season, so I would imagine the Royals could go in there and get some solid wins there against Worcester, but we shall see. Again, it's all about playing defense, not really giving anything up there from Keith Petruzzelli. You may be asking yourself the question, who is going to be the backup? Well, now Vinny Purpura is off of the 14-day IL. He was on that the last 2 weeks, and now that obviously things have ended here, it looks like he is available to play in this 3-game series, but I'm probably predicting we're going to see Petruzzelli 2 of the 3 games, I would imagine. That's just my speculation. I don't know if that's 100% true. That's what's going to happen, but looking at how things are shaping itself here, that's probably how it's going to go, but we shall see. Again, I'm not a time predictor. I'm not a predictor of the future. Again, I haven't really talked to Peters since he was at home, so I don't know a lot right now, but regardless, that's probably what's going to happen here with Worcester and their 2 goalies and Reading and their 2 goalies there as well. So let's hope for the best. Again, like these 2 teams, the rivalry dates back to last year. The Royals had to beat this team twice to make the playoffs last year, and they did. So let's see if that happens again this year, and maybe the Royals can go in there and get both games, get 4 points there. Even if not, you can't win them all, I guess. And then they move on Sunday. So they play those 2 games in Worcester. Then they go back to Maine on the 2nd, a 3 p.m. matchup there in Maine against the Mariners. The Mariners so far this year have been pretty solid. They have won more games than Worcester there for sure. They're 2-2 through the month of October so far. So they're pretty much 500. But in the games that they've won, they've played pretty good. So I think that there's a lot of upside there. They play Adirondack before they play us. Obviously, Maine's been better than Worcester. Their stats so far amongst their players, their leading scorer on the offense is Brooklyn Kalmakoff, who is out of St. John's. He spent the last 2 seasons with Maine, has 8 points so far through 4 games played. Last year had 56 points in 66 games played with the Mariners. So he's been somebody who's been dynamo here for the Mariners so far to start this season. Also, Max Andreev has been good here too. Has 6 points in 4 games played. Was previously with the KC Mavericks. So he's been solid there too. He had 49 points in 50 games played last year with them. Had 10 points in 50 games played in the playoffs too. So he's a guy to watch out for there for sure. And then as well as that too, Jacob Perrault, who was a first-round NHL draft pick, which is wild. He obviously is now with the Mariners, had 6 points in 4 games played so far this year. It's wild that he's in the ECHL. He was a first-round pick. I remember when he was drafted. It's crazy that he's here. I'm shocked, honestly, but yeah, kind of looking like a bust. I hate to say it. Your leading guy on defense here for the Mariners, you have Tristan Thompson, who has 3 points so far in 4 games played, has 25 points in 39 games played last year with the Maine Mariners. So there you go. But regardless, that's a good upside there. Good player there on their defense. Ty Gallagher there as well in that defense. Has two assists so far in 2 games played there as well. And then you look at the goaltending here. For Maine, you have Luke Cavaline, who has led the way here for the Mariners, has 2 wins in 3 games played, a 2.01 goals against average, and a pretty good save percentage here so far as well, that being a 9.34. So again, Cavaline kind of just picking up where he left off last year. He was a champion with Trois Rivera, obviously. So there's that. I imagine we'll see him. We could see Brad Arvanitis, who's played 1 game, has an 839 save percentage, but we shall see, obviously. But overall, Maine looking like a pretty solid team here. So I would not imagine this will be another 4-0 shutout. I would be shocked if that's the case. But to be honest with you, we'll see what happens there, obviously. But things are looking up there for Maine so far. But overall, the Royals, they take on a 3-game slate here between the Worcester Railers and the Maine Mariners. So you're hoping for the best there for sure. Hopefully they can come in there and get all 6 points. But if they get 2 of 3, I will be satisfied. 2 of 3 is what I'm expecting. I don't think you're going to win both against Worcester. We shall see. But overall, hopefully Reading can continue their success from the previous weekend, and we can get another really good weekend here of Royals hockey before they come back home on November 8th. So, that being said, let's move on there from the Royals to the Phantoms, who made a trade. Now, this is more or less a Flyers trade, but it's between 2 minor league players. You start off as the Royals have traded, or the Phantoms have traded Samu Tuamala to the Dallas Stars, aka the Texas Stars, in exchange for Christian Kyrou. So, Samu Tuamala, as many of you know, I feel like wasn't really fitting in the Phantoms lineup, and the NHL was just a long shot. It didn't feel like it was going to be in his upside this year. So far this year with Lehigh Valley, played 3 games, had 0 points. Last year had 32 points in 46 games played with Lehigh there as well. But overall, you could tell that he's put up solid numbers, but last year was a down year compared to the year prior. It just didn't seem like the NHL was in the cards for this kid overall in the future. Now, the guy that the Phantoms are getting is Christian Kyrou, who was with the Dallas Stars organization. He was drafted in the 2nd round back in 2022. So far this year, with the Texas Stars, had 4 games played, 0 points. The year prior, 15 points in 36 games played. It does seem like the NHL may be a long shot for both of these players, but I like Kyrou. He had a decent year last year in the AHL. He is a defenseman, so he does help out logging up those minutes back there on the blue line. Overall, we'll see how this year goes for him, but Christian Kyrou there coming over to the Phantoms from the Texas Stars. And it does suck that a guy like Samu Tuamala just did not work out there. It really does stink because I like Tuamala. I thought he was a very exciting player, and I was looking forward to seeing what he was going to be able to do. But unfortunately, that is just not in the cards there for him in the NHL this year. Now, that being said, the Phantoms are on the road here this coming weekend. They take on the Hartford Wolfpack in Hartford on the 31st and the 1st. So we'll see what happens there in that matchup. But regardless, Phantoms looking good so far. Definitely some back and forth, I would say, but we'll see how Yaniv Peretz does up there. But regardless, that does it for this episode of the Royals Rundown Podcast, powered by Royals Report. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like down below and subscribe if you are new. But regardless, that is it for me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Let's go Royals.